Okay, hello. Today is September the 3rd, 2021, and we have here Maria Campo-Redondo, right, from the United Arab Emirates. And Maria, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, thanks, Bill. Thank you very much for that, for this possibility. Yeah, well, my name is Maria, Maria Susana Campo-Redondo. Usually people call me Marisu, but I go well with Maria. In terms of myself, I teach here in the United Arab Emirates University. I live in a city called Al Ain, and UAEU, it's a public university. So I have been teaching here since 2018. Previously, I am emeritus professor from the University of Zulia in Maracaibo, Venezuela, in South America. So teaching for me has been my passion all my life. Both of my parents were teachers. My husband is a professor. My son is a professor. So we have the academia in the giving, because teaching is also giving, I think, in my blood. So yeah.
Now
I teach psychology. I forgot to say that. Yeah, I'm a psychologist. By training, I am a psychologist. Yes.
Do you want to say anything more about your teaching, psychology?
Well, I teach in a psychology program here in the university. In both programs, we have an undergraduate program in psychology, and also we have a master program in clinical psychology. Since last year, our program, the Master in Clinical Psychology program, was transferred from the College of Humanity and Social Sciences to the College of Medicine and Health Sciences. So I teach graduate courses there. My track is psychotherapy, psychopathology, and now I'm teaching a seminar in mental health from a psychodynamic point of view. My main training has been in the psychodynamic area, even though in Venezuela, in order to be qualified or certified as a psychotherapist, you also have to have some type of immersion in other approaches, like the cognitive behavioral or the humanistic approaches, Gestalt, etc., etc. But psychodynamic has been my training, so this is what I do. I tell my students that this is the few things that I know how to do well. Well, this is one.
Yes. How did you find our Ullman Dream Group, our Zoo online Ullman Dream Group?
Oh my goodness, Bill, if I can tell you that, it's an amazing story, because I registered to a webinar in Adelphi University in which the name was something like group analysis of a dream or something like that. And it was at 2 a.m. in the morning. So I entered to the webinar, but to be honest, I fell asleep. But what called my attention, it was they used the Ullman method. I said, what's the Ullman method, to be honest? I have more than 30 years of experience in the psychodynamic tradition, and I have never heard that. So, I fell asleep, so I couldn't complete the webinar, okay? But at the beginning, it was so exciting because it was an anonymous dream, and people were commenting if this were my dream. So Facebook, they follow all our steps. Facebook, the algorithm they have, I don't know how, start to send me messages about dreams, about groups that deal with dreams. And by chance, to be honest, it's not that I found you or I searched for you. No, by chance, I saw your page and I clicked it and I started to read, and you mentioned that you have this group, and I said, oh my goodness, that's very interesting. I'm going to write to see how it goes. So I just, like many things that we do in life, it was by chance. I have to tell you that dreams have always have interested me. Since I was a psychology student. many, many years ago, I read the interpretation of dreams, and I was always very curious, how an internal reality can teach you so much about life. But that's how I wrote to you, and you were very welcoming. Also, the fact that you speak Spanish gave me some sense of confidence that I would be. I will join that, and that's how I started. And then, every week, I think this was in like 4 or 5 months ago, since every week, it caught my attention. I said, oh my goodness, I can. Then I started to study by my own more about the Ullman method and the authors, and I started to read some of your papers, I watch, because you are a very active person. You never stop, It's amazing to follow you. You always have something new. So I start to read about and follow what you publish on your channel. And now, after that, I went to France on vacation. So I said, well, I will prepare myself to introduce this method to my students, because now I am in the I don't say the last part of my career, but I am in the mature part of my career. I wish I would be introduced earlier of this method, because as a teaching method, it's amazing how you much learn. It's every week that we gather, and then also I participated in other Ullman Grims. The problem is the time, that sometimes they are in California, so I have to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. So, but I'm amazed. So it's something that really captivated me, and I am introducing this semester with my students some topics. It's not completely about dreams. Maybe in the future I will dare, to just teach the course around dreams with the Ullman method. Then I started to follow other methods like Jeremy Taylor, and also the 5-star method of Scott Sparrow, and many others. They have added, the beauty of this Ullman method. It's that you could add your own needs in terms of what are you going to do with that. So I'm really, to me, I'm really amazed. It's an amazement, I'm impressed. I am a person that tends to get impressed with things that I like, but this method, even some interviews that I have watched, for instance, Dr. Mark Bleckner, he's in New York, and he also took some training workshops with Dr. Montague Ullman, and he said, he narrates in one of his interviews that he asked Dr. Ullman, how come this method was not used only it's widely expressed around the world, but important people that I know in terms of my training that I have asked if they are familiar with the method, they don't know it. So when I started to research, I found that in the Scandinavian countries, it's so common. It's even the government. So I don't pretend to do that, but that's something that I would like to develop more, and I'm committed, definitely, to the incorporation as overall as a teaching experience, because with the method you also you not only learn about dreams and about human needs, human vulnerabilities, but also very, very important, you learn how to listen to people. And that's amazing to me. That's the beauty. To me, that's why I'm doing this with my students. I want my students to learn how to listen and not to impose our own questions, our own values. And that's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, those are the main skills that the method requires. One, the ability to listen. And what Montague Ullman means by that is take all our ideas and just put them over there and just listen to what the dreamer is saying. People, it's amazing the extent, you see the situation the world is in now, you know, nobody's listening to anybody else. Everybody's talking their own. People don't know how to listen. You think, you know, all the
Yes.
education we have, but this, you're right, this method teaches you how to listen. You have to listen to figure out the dream. You have to listen to the dreamer.
And not only to the dream per se. I mean, in psychology, we teach our students that they have to listen, but sometimes listening, it's a very challenging experience because usually very challenging, because I think listening touches with your with our own, you know, bias, with our own need. We psychologists, we have the need to give, you know, to give our impressions or to give our suggestions, no? And even myself, I remember the first, I never forget that, the first time that I belong to your group. Of course, I went to the group with my background, with my, you know, my ideas, you know. So, I know about dreams. I read, you know, the interpretations of dreams. My patients have told me a lot of dreams. So I brought that to the group. And I remember one of my first or second interventions was, you know, that I am the one who knows, even though in the psychodynamic tradition, of course, we respect what the dreamer has to say, but also we bring our own interpretation, our own associations. And I remember, Bill, that you immediately, and I really appreciate that, because sometimes in the group, I have experienced that it's important for the facilitator or for the leader, however you want to call it, to set the rules. And the rules is you don't impose, you don't make connections that the dreamer has not made it previously. I mean, you could propose, but at the end, is the dreamer who has to enter into the room of expanding his or her experience or awareness. So I remember the first time that you say, "No, please, Maria." I said, "Oh my goodness, I'm sorry," you know. And at the end, it was so enlightening, you know, to say it's true. I have to take that to my students, you know, because sometimes, I mean, again, listening, it's listening. So you don't have to impose your own values or your own beliefs or your own truth. Unfortunately, in psychology, with this new positivistic paradigm that we are living, sometimes we impose a lot of our own truth, that you have to be happy, that you have to know the truth, that you have to heal quick, that and I think that's not good. So dreams and this Ullman method has allowed me to experience, because it's more about, I mean, it's not about learning. Learning, it's important, but experiencing that you know, that moment, and how the group can catch the many messages that the dreamer is commenting. To me, it has no value. You know, it's amazing. Yes.
You said something important. It's a teaching method. The Ullman method is a teaching method. It's not psychotherapy. A lot of psychotherapists use it, but I just do it the way Monte Ullman did it. And it's a teaching. What we do is a teaching method. I'm not a psychotherapist. I never took a course in psychology, and I'm not really interested in psychology, but I'm very interested in dreams, because I've been involved with writing for many, many years, and I'm interested in the creative ability that an artist or writer can have. And so I'm very interested in the self-discovery aspect. That's what we do. It's a teaching method. The other methods, like Freud, even Jung, you're sort of taking someone else apart. And this is not appropriate for the university with young students, you know, to psychoanalyze young students. It's not what they came to the school for. But the Ullman method is different. It's a teaching method. So what you're teaching them It's not something, this is this and that's that. It's not, you're not, you're not dumping stuff into their head, but instead you're pulling stuff out of their head, out of their heart. And sometimes no one has ever pulled it out before, or no one has made a space where it could come out. And then when
Yes,
it comes
definitely.
out, it's surprising.
Yes, yes. And that's that I think that's the I don't find another way to say the beauty. Maybe the beauty it's not a word that we use in science, right? Because science is not beauty, even though we search for that because the truth is beauty, but the beauty, the joy, you know, the impressive, the overall aspect of the method, it's that at least in my experience, that everybody brings their own association, their own experience, and this connection. To me, that's the importance. Okay, this connection that the group creates, and this unity and this force. Of course, like in any other method or in any other experience, of course, it has its risks. I'm not going to deny that because we should not idealize, you know. But the important thing is that we become aware that this is not counseling, this is not psychotherapy, this is an experience. And in like any experience, maybe there are some blind spots, maybe there are some things that you don't see or that you see more or you give more importance. But overall, the core of the method, the core of the experience, and I think also has to do a lot with the way that the facilitator organizes the experience. So in my case, my experience in the groups that you run, I mean, it's so straightforward, you know, the time it's also, you know, define the rules, which are not many rules, but the rules are important to enforce them. I remember one time that I couldn't attend, I had class, and I remember I asked you if I could only join for 1 or 2 hours. And you very nicely, very straightforward said, I'm sorry, Maria, but the group needs, I mean, the participation needs a full commitment. And, you know, I was a little bit upset. I remember it was at the beginning because I wanted to participate, but I couldn't. I mean, in Spanish, we say, el que asa dos conejos, uno se le quema. If you are in two things simultaneously, maybe one thing, it will not be good. So I couldn't participate. And I was upset. You say, oh my gosh, I wanted to participate. But then I realized it's true. I mean, it's not going there just to watch what others are saying and then go back whenever I want. No, I mean, it's a full commitment. If you are, then of course that has limitations because it's time consuming. But I mean, in life, how many things are time consuming? Breastfeeding, you know, pregnancy, 9 months, you know.
Montague Ullman, speaking of pregnancy, Montague Ullman often compared his method to what do they call these women that come to your home to deliver a baby?
Oh yeah, like midwife.
Midwife. He
Midwife, yes. Oh, beautiful. Yes.
And he said we midwife the dream. And
yeah,
so imagine that someone is giving birth to a baby and you're the midwife, Maria's the midwife. And then you say, oh, it's 4 o'clock. I've got to go to my dentist appointment now. You know,
no.
that wouldn't go over. You've got to be there for the mother and the baby. And that's the way it is with a dream. We really have to be there from the beginning to the end together. And you said the word, it is togetherness. We are a unit, a group. And you said another thing that's true, that everybody brings their own experience, because in the first stage of the process, where we do the feelings and the metaphors, we take the dream as if it's our own, because then we're not analyzing it, we're not interpreting it, we're telling what we feel on the basis of our own. And by doing so, see, the dreamer has made herself naked by sharing the dream. It's like taking her clothes off. And so when we do that, when we make our projections, we make ourselves naked. And then there's more of an honesty. It's a level. We're not standing above the dreamer. We're in the same we're on the same level. And we do bring our experience. And the dreamer, the secret is we're all human beings and we all really have the same experience, but we express it so differently. And so the dreamer, one or two people cannot help but impact the dreamer, give the dreamer new
Yes,
ideas of her
yes.
own, not ours, but her own.
Yes, and you know, Bill, there is a saying, I don't remember, I think it's a philosopher, I don't remember exactly the name. He says that nothing human is alien to us. And that saying, that impressed me. And also, I have found it a direct application to the Ullman method of dream appreciation, because the issues that people dream about, I mean, are not alien to us. I mean, everybody has their own issues, their own psychic, if you want to call it that way, or their own dreams. But the topics, the needs, even the images, even the archetypal, if we want to approach it from a Jungian point of view, or the wishes, if you want to take more Freud's approach, are not alien to us. And that's even in different cultures, because
We just look at them as metaphors. We don't go into archetypes.
okay, the metaphors, yes,
Now,
yes.
you came with a dream, I think it was last week, right?
Yes,
So you came
last
with a
week.
dream, and I looked at this dream and I said, oh my God, there's nothing we can do with this. Because but by the time you finished, all of us identified with your dream. All of us recognize ourselves in your dream, and you yourself figured the dream out. Is that wrong? Or
No, you are completely right. And you know what, Bill? Not only you did not know what to do with the dream, me too. When I had that dream, I said, oh my goodness, you know, you put this strange, you know, bizarre face. I remember that, oh my goodness. I mean, and I dreamt with my friend, and I don't talk about her. I don't think about her. I mean, she's a friend of mine, but we have so many years that we have not seen each other. And I said, what is, I mean, here all the theories that the dream relates to the waking life, that with the previous day, to me had no association at all, you know. But then I pushed myself. I said, no, come on, Maria. I mean, and then I remember going to the, you know, because it was the day that I was coming back here to the Emirates. I said, come on. And then I think I also, what the group did, it was what I did. It was amazing. Then after we finished the group, I said, oh my goodness, the group reproduced my experience, not only in the dream, but also after. Because at the beginning, you said that the dream was, you started like asking questions like, what is dream about, you know? Because the personage and the elements of the dream were so alien, were so nonsense. And that what happened to me too. But as I pushed myself a little bit, and then as the group, I think, pushed themselves in order to make their own associations, I was impressed. I have to be honest, completely. I was impressed how, without me giving any association about the dream, how the group was able to catch
well,
it was amazing.
this is the thing, is that we like where you are, people speak Arabic, and down in Venezuela, where you come from, people speak Spanish. And I come from New York, people speak English. So people speak, there's the story of the Tower of Babel in the Bible somewhere, that they make this tower because people want to reach God, but God makes everybody speaking different languages, so no one understands each other. That's right, that's true maybe for the left brain. But the right brain of us all of us speaks metaphor. That's what Ian McGilchrist has. Have you read Ian McGilchrist?
Yeah, you know, I am watching some of the videos that you have shared. Yes, and he has a book. I haven't read the book, but it's something
really,
about
really good.
How the left hemisphere. I mean, it's not enough, right? Even though he's a neuroscientist.
No.
Yeah, so he knows what he's talking about.
But the point is, the language of the right hemisphere is metaphor. The left hemisphere does not understand metaphor. And so when you told us the dream, and I looked at that dream and I said, oh my God, what are we gonna do with this? It's too simple. It's from too long ago, and it has images that don't connect with anything. But it turns out each image connected with everything. And it wasn't too simple, and it wasn't from too long ago. Because I looked at it from the left brain to understand it, to find meaning.
Yeah, from the logic, right? Yeah,
but that's not the language of the dream. The dream is in metaphor. And it has its own different logic, which is why it arises. And that's why we take the trouble. We spend 3 hours to look at the dream, because it's telling us something that we know, but we don't know we know. And that's
that's a beauty. Yeah, we know something, but we don't know that we know it, and we have to make an effort. I mean, like everything in life, the effort means that you have to push yourself to try to understand, not understand in terms of, but in order to connect, I would say, more than understand, in order to connect to the metaphors, to the narratives also, I would say, but overall to the metaphors, right? And also to the associations of the dreamer. I mean, without that, we don't have a case, right? Because if not, it would be something, again, from the left part. I mean, if we just try to understand the dream without the dreamer, makes no sense.
The interesting thing to me is, in these times, you see this effort on the part of many different countries to send these spaceships to Mars and other planets.
We here in the Emirates, we are exploring. Oh yeah, and it's a very important unity that the country has found, because last year they put an astronaut in a mission, not in Mars, but in a mission. Yeah, very, very. So but the thing is that sometimes, because some societies are so immersed, in the exploration of scientific challenges, which is good. I mean, I am completely with that. But sometimes we forget that if we don't accompany those challenges with the more humane, with the more existential and phenomenological aspects of our lives, it's not a balance.
We're looking, for example, let me, first of all, I'm thinking in terms of Jeff Bezos, the Amazon owner, who was interested in going into space. And a lot of people, a lot of these millionaires in America want to go into space. And there's an interesting poem by this poet I used to read a long time ago. And he talked about how the scientists are trying to communicate with dolphins. And his point was, we're trying to communicate with other species, or even to go to other planets and find different kinds of life, when we don't communicate with ourselves.
Yes,
the right brain is alien to us. It is speaking an alien language, metaphor. And it's saying it has a different sense of values than we do. Our dreams have a different sense of values than we do. They value connectiveness. They value human bonding. They value affection. They value nurturing and growing, and etc.
Which are, I would say, Bill, and that reflects our basic needs. I mean, maybe we have different culture backgrounds, maybe we have different culture configurations in our psychic, but I mean, as humans, our needs are very similar to each other. I mean, that's what makes us humans, right? So this need to be connected, this need to be appreciated, also this need to be recognized, which is very common in the dreams. It's amazing. Every time that I work with a dream, even mine or the others, I see the need for being recognized, right? And being listened to some of our most inner experiences that sometimes we are afraid to listen to ourselves, right? So the dreams allowed us to do that.
Well,
when we do it in group, that means that the group dares to listen to some blind spot that sometimes the dreamer doesn't want to. So I think that's the beauty of the Ullman method. And overall, if you do it in a contained way with a safety factor that it's so important, the safety aspect, right? I mean, it's an amazing. I don't want to call it tool because tool it's a very simplistic.
Utilitarian.
Yeah, tool. But I mean, sometimes we can adapt it, and sometimes in the academic environment, the word tool it's very accepted. So yeah, I don't mind calling it tool, but I know that it's more than a tool. It's
Well,
an experience.
in our world, in our society, all societies, we've become disconnected from nature. I mean, like in our time, there was a freshwater dolphin in a river in China. It went extinct. And there was a special species of turtle in China that went extinct. So many animals are going extinct in our time because we're disconnected from nature. We're more interested in making money from these oil palms than we are in the orangutans, are closely related to species. So we're disconnected from nature, but our dreams are not. Our dreams are connected with the environment. We're disconnected with our intimate self, and we're disconnected with our intimate other. Dreams are not. Dreams, Montague Ullman said that dreams, the main function of dreams, they're concerned with relationship to nature, relationship to the ones we care about, relationship to ourselves, and relationship to the divine, to what people call God or enlightenment, it's the holy. That's so important. And we've become cut off from that. We're cut off from God, we're cut off from ourselves, we're cut off from our instincts, our intuitions, the ones that are close to us, and we're cut off from nature. And so dreams, really, we can learn more from dreams than we could ever learn from dolphins, porpoises, or from meeting some alien. We can learn from our own, that part of ourself that we don't know. And that's why I really feel that dreams belong in education today, like what you're doing. That's why I'm so impressed with what you're doing, to introduce dreams to these graduate students who've never been in a dream group, and you invite them to our Zoom dream group.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, with a lot of hesitance, a lot of ambivalence, and maybe a lot of fears. I'm not going to deny that.
Tell us about that, about your fears and ambivalence.
Well, Bill, because you talk about this connection, and I think academia overall in this part of the world, academia has tried very hard to bring what they call evidence-based approaches to psychology, which I agree with that. I mean, I am not against that at all. But the type of psychology that we teach is a very formal psychology, or very academic psychology, okay? So it's a type of topics. The topics that we deal with are very related to what has been demonstrated, what has been presented as evidence. So working with unexpected emotions, like happens in an Ullman dream group, in the sense that you don't know what you are going to deal with, because if you would know it in advance, then I mean, what's the point? So that makes me feel a little bit vulnerable, I would say, because I'm asking my students to be engaged in activities, and me myself, that even though I know what I'm doing, even though I know the theory, at least I have studied the theoretical frames of the experience, but you don't know what's going to happen. But so it's a fear it's not a fear that I cannot control, but it's something that, yeah, when I think very, very serious about that, I say, oh my goodness, what happened if a student becomes very anxious or becomes very, well, the important thing is to remind them that this place that we are coming to learn is not for you to feel anxious. On the opposite, it's to be more connected. It's to be more aware of things that are going on in our lives.
And in a Muslim country like that, if you impose Freud's idea of dreams on them, that's like putting Jewish ideas on their Muslim mind. They would have reason to be nervous about that. If you impose Jungian ideas on them, that's like putting a Christian framework on their Muslim mind. But when you work with the Ullman method, what comes out of the student, if the student works with a dream, is their own native, indigenous, Islamic, Arab method, culture, whatever. They are discovering themselves and expressing their own culture, not some other culture, some different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you know what, Bill? Like in everything that we do in life, until I don't experience that, I would be, maybe it's are my own resistance. I read one article by Mark Bleckner. He's a psychoanalyst in New York. And he also had some interviews on YouTube, and he said that when he went to these Ullman training workshops, he was also amazed by the experience, and he decided to introduce it in his own classes. No? And he said that one of the things that happened in the first time that nobody wanted to share a dream. And he said that after reflection, and I think the same happens to me. After, reflecting on that, he discovered that maybe it was his own anxiety. So maybe his own anxiety of introducing an experiential work with dreams, not from a theoretical point of view, but from an experiential way. And he says that that after he overcome that ambivalence or that resistance, if you want to call it, or that fears, his experience working with this method has been now for 30 years. So I don't want to repeat his experience, but I have the same feeling that, what would happen? But, like in everything that we do, I stay that. If there is something that I believe on, I will try to stay by that. So that's what I decided this semester to prepare myself. Of course, I have a good theoretical frame in order to explain to my students the importance of the method and the importance of being familiar with dreams. And I decided to invite them to the group, and some of them have responded. I was amazed with their associations.
I was surprised. First of all,
yes,
I was surprised that they spoke such perfect English, and it turns out they went to a British school, and the other one went to an American school. I didn't know there were these schools there where they spoke. Their English was impeccable, and their ideas were very clear and lucid and interesting. I think of these women wrapped up that are afraid to speak. These were smart girls,
Yes.
So,
And, one of them, I think he was the one who really, really catch the essence of my feelings. I haven't told her, but I said, oh my goodness, how a student that has no previous experience in dream work, that is so alien to my own culture, to my own, but at the end, as I told you, I think it's not about culture, it's about when you really connect to the emotions and you really allow yourself to catch and to connect to the metaphors of the dream. The force of that experience it's amazing, yeah. And also you were talking, Bill, about some very important concept, disconnected or cut off. And that is what when we work with patients, overall patients who have been traumatized, for instance, or patients who are like automatons, that they don't connect with their own emotions. That's what happened. It's the same resemblance with dreams. So patients who suffer from difficult experiences, they are not able to integrate those experiences in their life. And when we work with dreams, that's what we do. We try to incorporate those experiences that we have going through our life. And the dream is able to let us know that those experiences are there. What we have is to listen to our own needs, to our own concerns, to our own resistance, if you want to call that, and trying to integrate that. And that's the beauty, that's the importance, I would say, of incorporating working with dreams in our life and for our students.
What we call education has nothing to do with listening to ourselves. It's listening to the teacher. It doesn't have to do with learning what we feel. It has to do with writing down what the teacher said and regurgitating in an exam. So everybody that comes to the dream group is trained not to listen to themselves. And the dream group is the opposite. The dream group is like a medicine for the sickness of our culture today, I think. It really trains.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's not some alien process that Montague Ullman cooked up. The dream group has the same stages as the creative process. If you look at the creative process, the different stages, that's the same as the dream group. It's a creative approach to dreams. That's what it is, pure and simple. And that's why this girl probably picked it up, because women tend to be more creative than men in many ways, especially when it comes to feeling or connection or things like that. What you're talking about. So,
yeah, definitely. Sure. Sure.
Is there anything else you
Well, I have a question for you, Bill. I don't know if I am the one who's been asked the questions, but now
go ahead.
have you had the experience, and that's one of my concerns with this methodology that I'm using. Have you had the experience in a group that nobody has shared a dream, and the group, what happens? I wonder nobody shares a dream. I mean,
yes, this is common. Montague Ullman told us I was with him in his groups for maybe almost 20 years, maybe more than 20 years. And he always said, in this process, the leader is just another member of the group and can share a dream as well. Well, I was waiting all those 20 years for Monty to share a dream, and he never did. And finally, I invited a lot of people up there to his place, the dream group, and he called for a dream, and nobody had a dream. And the longest time, he has a way of just sitting and waiting. He's very slow, and he'll just sit there, and he'll look around, so you feel guilty, and you come up with a dream. But nobody had a dream. And so finally, Monty said, well, he said, I had a dream last night, but he was interrupted by someone I brought to the group. I have a dream, the guy said. And I could have strangled that guy because I really wanted to know Monty's dream. And you're not allowed in the group to say, would you share one of your dreams? You don't do that until the person volunteers.
Yeah.
And so people someone has a dream. You just have to wait, And then what I do when that happens is if no one has a dream, does anyone here remember a dream they had when they were a child? Everybody's hands go up. They all remember a childhood dream. And you dream. Now that may have been 10 or 20, 30, 40 years ago, but you'd be surprised,
Yeah.
We're not trying to figure things out. We're introducing them to a way of looking at their own dreams that they can use themselves with their friends. This is not something,
And now that I'm listening to you and processing what you comment, maybe it's part of the group process, right? Because also sharing dreams is not only the fact of sharing the dream, it's also the group process starts to form, to start to activate it, even though maybe we are not aware, we don't want to recognize it. So maybe also it has to do with a group per se. So yeah, we have to maybe the answer to my own question is maybe we have to wait and we have to trust the process. I think that would be very important, right? To trust the process and what
people clam up sometimes. They clam up, and I don't have a dream, and everybody, I don't have a dream, and that happens so often now. It doesn't bother me anymore. And then if in a class at the university, because I teach an Ullman Dream Group class, I'm wondering if you would ever be interested in teaching that at your university. Would they let you do that?
Well, as a formal course, maybe, but I would have to include what they call the CLOs, because the university is very committed to go by the international standards. So the association with the objectives of the course, and at the end we have to give some evaluation. But maybe as an experience it would be possible, maybe as part of self-development for our students. I mean, I'm open to the possibility. Yes.
What does that mean?
CLOs, it's objective course objective learnings. Okay, so CLOs, it's very important for, it's a process that the university invests a lot of money
Well, what you
in
could say
training us.
for objective, that a function of this course is learning, learning what metaphorical thinking is, learning how to, there are many objective things in dreams, you know. Learning how to figure out the meaning of a dream without Freud and Jung, all those see, because most people in the world are not, they're not psychopaths or disturbed people or traumatized people. Most people, like the girls that came to the class, are just normal people, you know. I mean, none of us
Yes,
are perfect, but we get along in the world. And the Ullman group is really for people like this. And
yes, yes.
for these
And in
people,
fact,
go ahead.
yeah, what I was saying that in fact, I'm teaching my students in order to justify the incorporation of the activity. I am teaching my students some theory about the history of the Ullman method, how it works. I have made them ready, even some of your writings, and because you have very good articles in excellent Scopus journals. So I mean, it's something that you cannot argue about that, you know. I, as a professor, I'm very picky with those details, no? So I have them read, you know, some of this material in order to, not to learn about the to learn the frame, because again, you cannot go to the group, to the Ullman group, with preconceived theories, because it will not work. It will be against the nature of the group. But it's important, because we are in an academic environment, it's important that they be aware that the method, Ullman per se, had a very important reputation, and how he spread his theories and his method over the world. It's important for them to be aware. So yeah, we are trying to combine the academic or the theoretical point of view with the real experience. So yeah, in class we are going, I will try to introduce some of some group activities, some experiential activities with all the requirements. For instance, it's mandatory now that we are teaching online classes. It's mandatory that we record all our sessions. Well, these sessions that I'm going to have with my students, we will not record them unless all of them agree. But at the beginning, I decided my intention is not to record that, in order to assure the safety, right? Maybe when we have more confidence, maybe we can even record the sessions.
One thing you can do, if they insist that you record them, you could tell the students, don't say anything that you wouldn't want anybody to know. I tell them that because, Montague Ullman said this group is confidential, but in Taiwan, people love to gossip. And so I just say to my students, I say, look, if there's anything you don't want people to know, don't say it, because we don't need to find out your secrets. We can find plenty of important meaning in the dream without going into anything secret or mysterious.
Yeah. In every society, Bill, I think every society has a gossip component. In my society too. Here, I don't know. I mean, I don't have pet, but yeah, maybe. I mean, the important thing is that, the safety factor, because we don't want to know things that you don't want to share. Yeah, and I am telling that to my students. But still, because it's the first time I'm learning, you know, that's the beauty also of this process.
There's another thing with CLOs is that right now, like in New York City, the whole family died. They drowned in their own apartment. They had a basement apartment, and with a flood because of the hurricane that hit New York City, and because of this global warming, what's happening are these, out west, there are fires in America that burn people's homes, their dream homes that they spent their whole life constructing. It just burns through communities, burns the forest. And in other parts of the country, there are these devastating rains. And then the sea level is rising. In Miami, salt water bubbles up through the drains in the streets, and you drive through seawater in the streets. And in other words, they think that within 10, 20, 30 years, it's going to be the end of the world as we know it. I mean, this is not something minor. So in terms of CLOs, this McGilchrist, Ian McGilchrist, the one who wrote that book about the divided mind, he pointed out that it's really important for us to gain access to what the right brain knows. It's really important because if we don't do that, we cannot deal with the coming crisis. And so what you're teaching students is the most important thing for them to know, which is who they are. And that I mean, nobody can say, oh, don't teach them who they are. Teach them anything else, but don't teach them who they are. Don't let them discover their own truth. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? Those days are over. We don't have that many decades left. Those days are over. Unless there's a global change, we're not going to survive as a civilization, and we're going to put down most of the other species with us. These rare and beautiful species. It took millions and billions of years to evolve them. And if they all disappear, who's going to set it right again? We don't have an extra time to go to other planets, and we're ruining this planet, you know? And that's a CLO. That's an objective of the course.
Definitely.
Know.
And also, you know what, Bill, here in my program, we took very seriously the development, the personal development. In fact, we conduct interviews to those students who want to be admitted. And sometimes, unfortunately, not all of them are admitted because not all of them have clear sense of who they are, what are their goals, because it's clinical psychology. I mean, when they are gone with a program, I mean, they go will out in order to help others. So they are going to deal with the souls, with the minds of people. So in that sense, in our program, we took it very seriously. You know, the personal awareness of our students.
Personal awareness. But another CLO besides personal awareness is you connect the student with their personal creativity. You connect them. People who are not creative begin to learn through the Ullman process the creative method. And that is, I mean, honest to God, in these Arab countries where they have sand and desert, these people can develop a whole new kind of economy that can make energy without oils. You know what I mean? And we can all do that. We can alter the economy. There are whole new technologies that are being developed now. And what we need more than anything else is creative individuals. And the woman in charge of research at Google was asked, what was the question? Critical. What they want, what they look for when they hire new people is their critical intelligence. And the man asked, what do you mean by critical intelligence? And the woman said, the ability to ask the right questions. And that's what the Ullman group teaches. That's what it's about. If you can't ask the right questions, you can't get the meaning of the dream. You sat there with a dream you didn't understand, but if someone hadn't asked you the right questions, now, how did this person discover the right questions? From you. But you don't know that you're giving out that message. And they just follow where Maria's going. And then we get the meaning of Maria's dream. It's not somebody who's imposing their idea. It's you, it's the dreamer. The dreamer sends out these little hints. And then the leader just draws the hints and takes them in the direction they're going in. And this is an important thing for anybody in psychology or therapy or anything like that. There's so much to be learned with the Ullman method. But the students don't learn it from books. They learn it by working with their own dreams. They learn it by discovering who they are.
That's I'm taking notes.
I know you know these things too. I'm not trying to.
No, but it's true. I mean, and that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I introduced the topic. And I connected it to the CLOs, to the course objective learnings, in some sense, the importance of asking questions, important to also the importance of being connected, like you said before. Like a clinician, we have to be connected with our own emotions in order to work with others. So it's a training method. I mean, it's a method that definitely you have to learn from yourself, from the help of others, but also you learn from others, listening to others. So yeah, in that sense, I'm also learning
Well,
in
I'm
the
learning
process,
too.
you know?
Every
Yeah.
single, in your dream, when you worked with your dream, I learned. And every single dream I do, I learn so much. And
Yes, that's,
I'm the one who's learning, maybe more than anybody else in the group. I'm learning. And I wish I could write down what I learned fast enough, but I can't. I can't keep up with it. But it's so much, it changes who you are as a person.
yeah. Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, it's, always remember a very important psychoanalyst that I like to read a lot, Sandor Ferenczi. He was an Hungarian psychoanalyst, and he always said that in the process, in a real psychotherapeutic process, there are two people who are healed. You know, the patient and also the
Yes.
therapist.
Jung said that too.
And yeah, yeah. So, and I always tell my students, maybe our profession is not a very profitable profession, but it's a very enhancing profession, because while you are working, you are also learning about things. You are healing about yourself, and that has no pay. And that happens with the Ullman method. And every week that I join, even if I don't participate, sometimes, I mean, my creativity or my disposition to participate, it's not as high as in other times, but still, still the learning, this moment that, oh my goodness, I haven't seen that, or what a beautiful metaphor, or these type of things are so, so fulfilling that they have no value compared to
Maria,
other
would you
things.
ever think of offering a Zoom dream group of your own in the future? Maybe in
Yeah,
Spanish?
yeah. I have considered that. Yes. Right now, I mean, just concentrated on teaching and how to incorporate that into my teaching activities. But yeah, also doing some research. But overall, conducting my own groups. I mean, my own groups in the sense that in Spanish, of course, it would be much more easier. I know that in Chile there is a person. I watched the interview, and I
Yeah.
even wrote to her, Rosa. I don't remember her last name. Yeah, and she conducts dream appreciation groups in Spanish, but they do it face to face. I mean, it's not online. Yeah, definitely. The answer is yes. I am considering that possibility, and maybe I will invite you once we
Well,
also.
you would be the only one, except for that woman. You would be the only one doing this, the only one in South America or in Spanish, I think. And also, you have Spain right there near you, probably very similar time zone. And I don't think there's anyone in Spain either that does
In
that.
Spain, I have reached in internet, and I haven't found any. No, maybe there are, and I don't know where. No, but no, in Spain also, maybe I would be the first one. I don't know. Maybe I will have, before I will have a lot of dreams about that, and once I relate to those dreams, then maybe I will I will start. Yes.
Anyway, I think we have to close off soon. Do you want to say
Yeah.
anything else before we close?
Well, muchas gracias. I mean, I'm very grateful, Bill, to these things that you do, really. I think you are a very generosity, altruistic, and I really appreciate that. And the fact that you are very supportive of these of these things that we do, and I think that you have a really honest belief in human beings, in humanity, and to be connected to that, to me, has been so important, so important.
The beauty is when we connect to each other, we find the whole of ourselves,
Yes,
And the group has really good people, all of them in the group.
yes,
And you fit right
yes,
in there. So when we connect, each of us becomes more whole. It's like charging the
yes,
battery or something.
yes.
I'm
So
gonna,
I'm so grateful to you and to the group for the
we're grateful to
opportunity.
you. I'm gonna turn
Yes.
off now, okay? And
Sure. Thanks a lot.
thank
Thanks.
you very much for this interview, Maria.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Bill.